It's a lovely day here. Beautiful Sunday here. Nice and sunny here in the UK. So surprised because it's been cold. No, we're here to talk about the trial that is going on. So if you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell so you can get notified when I go live, isn't it? Hope you are doing great and having a great Sunday wherever you are. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the famous trial which is happening all over the world, which has caused chaos everywhere. Famous kid, well, teenager now. Last year he had a gun, he was shown, then apparently shot a few protesters, and he had a trial, and now apparently he is free to go. Yeah, it was a mistake. It was purely a mistake. He didn't mean to do it. I mean, people should understand that it was a mistake. He was not in his right mind. So guess what? He is free to go, and that is the justice system at its best for those who are into justice. So I want to know what you are thinking about it, isn't it? This is what is happening around the world now. I don't think this is unique because most of the other cases people have been found guilty. And not even if they're cops, they had a case. I don't understand why this time they did not find him guilty. I don't understand. Even if some say it's race, but even if it's race, other times the people who have been the same race as a classifier have also been found guilty or they've been given a punishment. Or is it because he is a teenager? That's the point. So that is what is happening around the world, and people are protesting. There was some in the UK here protesting yesterday again. In America, I've seen them on YouTube. People are protesting. They were like, "No way, that's injustice. No way. That we're not having that." So people are not really happy against about that. Obviously, would you be? Because he killed people, and if someone say for a different color or shade of color, he would have been going to jail, which is true, obviously. But yeah, so it's going on now. So even his attorney is criticizing the, of course, disgusting attempts by Republicans to capitalize on teen. So they're trying to capitalize on him, which I think is a normal American thing for those who have ever been guilty or who have got fame from ever something good or bad. That's normal in America. Whatever becomes famous, people try to capitalize on it, no matter if it's justice or injustice. So he's saying now the Republican is saying that they're calling out on the attempts. Oh, that's disgusting. Trying to capitalize on somebody who has got some celebrity status, which most people do, even if they're right or wrong. So that is what is happening now. I think this is a mark, because I don't think he really meant it. He's just trying to act like he cares and now how dare them, but I don't think he really meant it. Just a media stunt just to answer like, no, people can think like he is really caring or against it, but no. So there have been a lot of demonstrations around. Some say were peaceful, with the exception of Portland, Oregon, where a small group of protesters broke windows out of the Justice Center. So some people have been breaking windows around the place. So right-wing figures celebrated the decision, with Republican U.S. Rep. Madison called for offering Mr. Rittenhouse an internship and telling supporters to be armed, be dangerous, and be moral while exercising a right to self-defense. So this is the outcome now. He's being offered an internship by the right-wing figures. So that is what is happening now. So that is what you get for overcoming a murder case. Look at that. So the Fox News personality Tucker Carlson will interview Mr. Rittenhouse on Monday, and the network is set to air a documentary-style film about the trial in December. Mr. Richards told CNN on Friday that he did not approve a film crew embedding with the legal team. So that is what is happening now. So I'm going to make a documentary about him on Monday. So those want to watch it, Tucker Carlson, I follow him and watch his stuff. Those going to watch about it on Monday. So for those who don't know, I'll talk a bit about who he is. So now, this is a guy who's on you. It's a teenager who was not found guilty after shooting dead 2 people and another wounded at a Black Lives Matter rally. That is who Kyle Rittenhouse is. He's 18 years old now. A jury has delivered 5 not guilty verdicts against Kyle Rittenhouse, 18, following a double homicide trial for the shootings in the aftermath of protests against police brutality in the city of Kenosha, Wisconsin on August 25th, 2020, last year. So the rally against injustice that took place at night was organized in solidarity with a local black man, Jacob Blake, who had been shot and left paralyzed by a white police officer 2 days earlier. So that is a bit about who he is. That's what this led up to. So he came out. I saw the video actually when he came out shooting people. So I didn't know it was still going on until last year. They said, oh, apparently now he is not guilty. But I did see last year. I remember seeing that. So I remember seeing it last year when he came out. It was nighttime as well, and he had a gun. And people were person like, hey guy, what's that for? And we're just having a peaceful protest. So I was there fighting. People got shot. I didn't know what had happened to the case until now, wasn't it? So, well, so the victims who got shot, you can see, look for the victims. So he shot 3 people in Kenosha during the unrest in the summer of 2020. Yes. So there was 2 killed and 1 wounded. The 2 people who were killed were identified as 36-year-old Joseph Rosenbaum of Kenosha and 26-year-old Anthony Huber of Silver Lake, Wisconsin. George Grosskreutz, 27, a protester from West Alice, was wounded. Rosenbaum, 36, was released the day of the shootings from a Milwaukee hospital where he had been treated for a suicide attempt. It's not clear why he was on Kenosha's streets the night of the protests, for he had a fiancée who lived in the city. His background includes a conviction for sexual conduct with a minor in Arizona in 2022. The judge denied a teenager a defense request to argue that Rosenbaum was trying to get Rittenhouse's rifle because, as a convicted sex offender, Rosenbaum couldn't legally get one on his own. That is the story of one of the guys who was shot. Huber is seen on video swinging a skateboard at Rittenhouse before he was shot. He was known around Kenosha's skateboarding community, and his girlfriend, Hannah Gittings, said skateboarding was his life. Huber served a pair of prison stints stemming from family conflict, including shocking his brother in 2012. Oh, right, okay. A great aunt, Susan Hughes, said Huber was involved in protests because he was very upset that a police officer had shot Blake, who was left paralyzed from the waist down. Always remember this guy now. Grosskreutz previously said he attended several protests following Floyd May 2020 death. With training as a paramedic, Grosskreutz had carried medical supplies and was doing so the night of the Kenosha shootings. He was also armed with a pistol and had it in his hand when he approached Rittenhouse, who shot him in the arm. On the stand, Grosskreutz said he confronted a rifle-toting Rittenhouse with a gun of his own to try to stop the bloodshed. When asked what was going through his mind as he neared Rittenhouse, the 27-year-old testified that I was going to die. So Rittenhouse, 17 at the time, traveled a few miles from his home across the state border to Kenosha on August 25, 2020, as the city was in the throes of damaging protests that followed a white police officer shooting of Jacob Blake, a black man, after a call to a domestic disturbance. The bystanders video captured the critical minutes when Rittenhouse, with a Smith & Wesson AR-style semi-automatic rifle, shot and killed Rosenbaum and Huber and wounded Grosskreutz. The Kenosha County Sheriff David Beth said people believed to be in a militia or vigilante group had been patrolling the streets at night. Rittenhouse appeared in several videos alongside those groups. So it says here, before the shooting, the conservative website The Daily Caller conducted a video interview with Rittenhouse in front of a boarded up business. So he said some people are getting injured. This is Rittenhouse's story of the interview before the shooting, apparently. So people are getting injured, and our job is to protect this business. The young man said, and part of my job is also to help people. If there is somebody hurt, I'm running into harm's way. That's why I have my rifle, because I can protect myself, obviously, but I also have my med kit. So he was saying he was protecting the business because people are, there was a protest around this place. The Rittenhouse has argued self-defense in the shootings. Prosecutors trying to convict him of murder have been working to paint him as an inexperienced teenager who misrepresented his age and medical training to other armed civilians in his group on the night of the shooting. So it's what they're trying to represent him. He is a misrepresented teenager who is an who is inexperienced, and he misrepresented his medical training and his age to other armed civilians in the group. That is what they are arguing about, saying that, oh, this guy, he's too young, inexperienced, and he misrepresented his medical training to others who were armed, apparently, in that protest. So that's what they're arguing. So someone was saying, obviously, it's racial justice, racial profiling, as usual, white privilege, and but polarized people's far outside Kenosha. So that is what is happening around this case. My opinion is that, oh, well, I think it's good. It's a good way to cause unrest in the place. Because if he was found guilty, everyone would have been happy, we'd have been rejoicing, but people would found, yes, he deserved it, but because people have got what they wanted, so it's causing an arrest. I think it's a power play or politics trick, whereby they're not giving people what they want, so people can not be happy, people can protest and rise. That is what is needed sometimes for people to get something. Because if people got what they want, then they'll say, oh no, we see when we lose. So yes, I think they knew he's guilty. I know they knew he's guilty. But even the guy who got done for Floyd Mayweather, he had a sentence. Well, he was a police officer. They're saying now he is inexperienced. They're saying they cannot take a 17-year-old to jail. But guess what? The other day, the two white youth, 16-year-olds who killed their 61-year-old teacher have been sentenced. Isn't it? They've been put away. I've been used, in the other day. It's last week or this week. There's two pupils, 16-year-old white youth who killed a 61-year-old teacher. They found a body in the park, and they have been put away. They have been sent to justice. So I don't understand what is the difference here. I don't understand. I think in America, if you have a gun, you're allowed. I think more, because he used a gun and he's 17, so it's okay in America, apparently. Because if he didn't have a gun, I think he would have been caught guilty. I repeat, if he didn't have a gun, then I think he would have been guilty. Because it looks like a gun gives you the right to shoot people in America. Because these kids who killed their teacher, the 16-year-old boys, two of them, now they've been found guilty. I don't know if it's this year. I saw the clip yesterday. I'm sure it's this month which it happened. I forgot the state, but in America they were found guilty and they killed the teacher, 61-year-old woman. So that means justice is still there. But the question is, why was this one not found guilty? Is it because killing of two dark-skinned men, or because he had a gun, or because he had a business? Is that why he was being protected? The question is, what business was he protecting? So those are the key things you like to think as why they let him go, because others were not let go. So I don't know if it's about race, to be honest, because others who were killed, well, they didn't kill someone of a different race. Maybe that's why. Maybe because he was a young, so that means all the young guys who kill someone of a different race are allowed to go if they have a gun. Is that it? But those are the questions. If we're saying if it's a racial thing, then that means everyone who has shot another person of a race in a different time zone has been found guilty. Will not be found guilty, sorry, isn't it? That's what it means. So that means, okay, yeah, so this guy goes shoots and 17 is a gun. Oh, guys, he's underage, inexperienced, so let him go. It doesn't happen to other races, obviously, but obviously that's who's in power decides the rules. That's how it is in society. But I don't know what you guys are thinking out there. Is it true? What are your thoughts? Because there has been a lot of protests now around in the UK here now. People are protesting. It's come all the way here to the UK. They left America and here. I'm sure there'll be more. And now we're going to see Tucker Carlson is going to interview him on Monday night at 8 p.m. So for those watching Tucker Carlson's show on Fox News, he's going to talk about him. So I think these are times where these things become like celebrity status stunts. So now I'm thinking, using it as a status to cause more news, to cause more unrest, to cause certain events to happen so they can get a benefit out of it. Not because he's not guilty, because they know if they say he's guilty, it will make everyone happy, they will be happy, and something will happen. But because he's not guilty, it will cause certain events to happen around the world which people can benefit from. That's what I'm thinking. Not because of race. I think it was a perfect time to use it as a race thing and also as a teenager, and then all those factors involved in there make it a good time to bring across a certain law or agenda that you see because of this people are going to panic. An example is stock market. People are going to panic and lose the stock, and then some stock will go up. The price might go up for this certain price. So look around for those kind of things. People who don't just look at the killing. Look around at what is going on, what will happen afterwards. Look at the stock market. Look at some prices of goods, or what is going up. What law is going to come out afterwards. That's what I think might be one of the reasons why. Ratio, I don't really think it's most my opinion. It could be, but because it was too convenient for them not to use it as a guilty. Oh, he's a dark man involved, then he has a kid, then he has a gun, then he had a video before. It looks more like it was staged to me. It looked like he was very prepared. If the people say they had done a video documentary live, a video before he got shot, that means they knew he was going to do it. If they said, like, yes, we actually had a video interview with him before he went out, that means they had already prepared it. So it could have been stopped as usual. But so this was, for me, I think it was a media stunt or a celebrity stunt, which somebody is benefiting off. Someone is benefiting from this decision, which is obviously him or the parents. But I think it's more, the rabbit hole goes different for me because I think there's more to the story. So apparently those two were convicted people who were killed. Yet again, like last time, I know maybe that guy who was killed was a serial offender. Just when killed last year, 2020. So it looks like these guys, if I looked up their history, I was seeing that most of them have not been very law-abiding citizens. I don't know if something just made up. People can see, okay, he was bad people, they deserved it. I don't know if that's true. But if you look up the history of these guys who were killed in this protest, most of them are criminals or they have criminal history in their profiles. I don't know. I'm not saying I don't know. So that's what I'm seeing. So I could be wrong. It could be someone just set them up. Somebody was explaining that these people who are, these guys who have been killed by these people, if you look back, they have a lot of criminal offenses. This guy just said he was a sex offender on the list. So question is, some say, is that justice because they're taking care of them and it was a time to go? After all their bad deeds, maybe it's how it's time for them to go, or it's because of their race. It doesn't matter because whether you're black or white, you should face justice, or because they're dark, they shouldn't be taken to jail, they shouldn't be shot. So what's the things? If that is true that they had a bad case before, if they were offenders who shouldn't be there, so they were at the wrong place at the wrong time, and then that's what happened to them. Putting away the race and the color of whatever the skin, so people die. Sometimes some karma hits you, sometimes it's bad. So it's everywhere, it happens everywhere. So reading from what they've said that these two, one of them was an offender, and maybe so that was his time to, maybe he was doing something which he shouldn't be there. Someone was saying he didn't have a right to have a gun, so he was trying to get a gun from him, and then maybe he met his fate. So looking at both sides of the picture, does that mean that they've met their fate? Sometimes I look at both sides of the picture and say, yeah, yes, there's a black guy, a white guy shot a dark guy. Yes, that's true. No, that's just some will elaborate as racial, but sometimes these people who are doing these things also had a part to play. But if you look at the things in the world, how it works, nothing happens for what reason, and everyone, we all meet our karma. That is when we get what we ask for, we get what we reap, we sow what we reap. So yes, it's injustice to those who wanted justice, but yet again, to those who killed, the families were lost bad. I've seen most of them were ruffians, or they were doing some stuff which not not saying it should be condoned, white or black. I'm not saying everyone should be let go bad. Knowing their background and what they're doing there, sometimes people come with other agendas which are not very positive for those protests, and sometimes they end up getting taken out. So my point is it justice for the guys who are criminals who are there for the wrong place, trying to do something bad? Yes. So I think, who knows? So those are the questions. We don't know, but from what I've seen from the past, people who get shot at protests, sometimes if you look at their history, they are not very abiding. They're not very, and most times they're not supposed to be there. That's what I've seen in most people who got killed at protests. That's funny. If you look back, dig a bit deeper, I just seen one of them was a sex offender. One of them didn't have a right to have a gun. I was trying to take it off him. It could be a story, but yet again, in most cases in the world, everything is fair. People get their fate always gets to you, no matter who you are, no matter what color you are. Even this guy who has just not been found guilty, he may not be guilty in the face of the American justice system, but in the working of the world, in a general mind, everything he will find his guilt. His karma will come to him. The world is justice. Everything is balanced. People who kind of escape the law in man's hand do not escape it in the universal terms. There's universal law which every man is under. So no matter which color you are, you might escape in people's eyes, won't tell you that, but in the background, the things that happen to you, you won't escape, isn't it? No matter where you are. So don't forget that. Those who are crying always injustice, there's a law which governs every person, which man is not part of, which man doesn't have no control of. And can be law of karma, law of attraction, law of one of those, but also some of the law whereby law of compensation, whereby you get what your actions produce. So whether he did or not, if he was the one, don't worry. His time will come when it will show up. Sometimes it takes many years. These guys, people in the 70s now are being acquitted, 60s are being found out for crimes they did a long time ago. So yes, these things might take a while. Don't let it change your mind and get angry. So it happens in life, but in the end, these people, if they're guilty, life will find them guilty. There's a way these things happen. I don't know how to explain it, but there's a law which governs this planet that we live on, and everyone must face their karma, must pay for their crimes, for their sins, no matter what you are. Don't worry about the racing. Racing is just a man-made thing, but in all in all, people are going to pay for what they see. This guy might not pay for it now, but pay for it later if he was there. Sometimes things are made up. Those guys who were there, apparently from the news, it shows that they were not supposed to be there, and they had some back record, and they were not to be protesting at the time. I'm not saying yes, but maybe their fate that caught to them. But this guy now has been acquitted. Maybe he was the one to take them out for their sins. But if he did on bad times, his time might come as well, where he must something or take out. So give it time. Don't be quick to rush and say he's off the hook. Nobody in life is off the hook. No matter what, don't be ever betrayed. Nobody's off the hook. If you are guilty of a crime which you're committing, even if the laws do not see you guilty, the universal law will see you guilty. So don't worry about that. Things always come to justice. This world is a fair and just system, not by man, not by human law, but by spiritual law. Everything has an end, and everything has an action which you must face the consequences, good and bad. So that is my verdict. Is yes, he's been not found guilty, but his time will come according to spiritual law or to governing law, which governs all this stuff. Those two guys, I don't know about them, but I've read about them, and it shows that they were criminals in a way. I'm not saying that, I don't know. I'm not here to judge whose time it is, but it looks like they met their fate when they were not supposed to be there at that time, regardless of colors or not. Happens to everyone as well, so they met their fate. This guy, Kyle, might meet his fate as well another day. Maybe he was the one to deliver their fate at that time, and then he'll get his another time. That's how it works. He was a guy chosen to deliver their fate. If he did it, then if he did on a bad heart, then his time will come as well. Everybody's time comes. Nobody escapes justice in this world, no matter how great, how big you are. So that is my verdict. So hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this trial, and if you think, what do you think about what I've said, and if I could be right. Everybody makes justice in this world. Justice is not, nobody escapes justice, no matter how good or no matter how big you are, rich, how strong, whatever. Every man finds his own justice, because the universal mind, the spiritual law, has to balance everything and has to be it's fair for everyone to reap what they sow. Yes, so let me know in the comments below what you think, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe and click the bell for notifications so you get notified when I go live. Thank you. This is George from Advancing Mindset, and I'm signing out. Take care of yourself and shalom. Goodbye.